So I'm Susan Corless. I'm Mybo Pro shooter, and I've been shooting since 2011. So being a Mybo Pro shooter is not just about shooting and not just shooting good. And actually, it's not always about winning. It's about representing the brands, and whether that is the brand Merlin, the brand Mybo, the kit that we shoot, knowing the kit, understanding the kit, and being able to talk to people about the benefits of, say, the Revolution versus a PSC. And I've just had that very same conversation with somebody in the shop as I've arrived here today. And it's about helping people. So, I don't have all of the answers, but if I don't have the answers, I'll go and get them. And if I can see that someone is struggling, someone might need a little bit of help, I'll try and help them. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm trying to encourage them to shoot a Mybo. It means that I'm trying to be an ambassador of the sport and also of the brand at the same time. This is the Revolution 34, and I am shooting both the 34 and the 37. And I don't actually have a preference. I have them both shooting good, and I tested them both quite recently over at the EFA Sunset course. And for anyone who doesn't know the Sunset course, that's like the really slopey one. So if you can take kit there and it will shoot good, you're good. I know what it is that I need from a bow. So physically, I have a problem with my back, and that means that all of my muscles are constantly in spasm. And as a result, and the reason I shoot compound is because recurve hurt too much. So whilst my peak weight is 45 pounds, I only hold 11 pounds. So I don't hold very much at all. And that's what's really nice about a compound. You can really refine it and customize it to how you want it. And if we take the other extreme, like Adam Ravenscroft, he holds a ridiculous amount of poundage. His stops are all the way out, and he's probably holding more than 20 pounds, and that would cripple me. But it's customizable. What's interesting about my setup? I mean, it's fairly standard. So there's nothing really that special about what I do. I'm quite particular. I go more on feel than what it says on paper. So when I'm setting a new bow up, I kind of have my starting point, and I'll get my tiller, my draw length, my peak weight, my holding weight to roughly match. And then I'll tweak from there based on feel. It doesn't necessarily have to end up where another bow is. It just has to feel good. And even if it's shooting groups, it still needs to feel good. And that's a vicious circle. But it's one that I walk, so. My journey, I started in 2011 at a target club, did my beginner's course, shot recurve for 3 and a bit years, shot to MB level, so shot to a decent level, shot for the county. And then my body went, no, you're not doing this anymore, you're just breaking me. So switched to compound in 2014, still shooting target, that's all I'd ever shot. Represented GB beginning of 2015 indoors, and then outdoors 2017, and still at that point I'd only ever shot target. And then one of my friends, can't remember who it was, they were shooting EFA, which the marked field, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And we had a club in Northampton at that time, so I joined. I was like, well, let's go and see what this is about. And just to add a bit of variance, I guess, to kind of what I was shooting, and to just mix up. And it's fairly well understood that field will make you a better target archer, and I actually think it works both ways. I think if you can mix up kind of what you're doing, it will make you a better archer overall. Represented GB outdoors quite a few times, shot the world champs in 2017, did some World Cups, and then the standard went bonkers. I was a 680 shooter for a 720, which back in 2019, that's not where the world standard is now. I don't have the time to put in to get to the level where the world standard is now, and I don't even know if I could get there. That's the reality. So I lost my way a little bit. Because I was like, well, I was doing all of this UK shoots and I was going out, I was getting my scores and I was doing that so that I could represent GB. And then I was like, well, what am I doing now? It's like I've kind of a little bit lost my purpose. So spoke to some of my friends and they were like, well, why don't you go and shoot some more field? And why don't you do some wild archery field as well? And I was like, oh, I'm terrified by that because that's unmarked. Like, what do you mean you don't know where the target is? That's terrifying. And Verity Richards took me under her arm and showed me how to do it, and it's not so scary. And I shoot more field now than target, so I've kind of flipped the other way and I'm loving it. I think something that I often see is, particularly newer archers, they're actually afraid to try things. And I do believe that in order to improve, you need to test different things, whether that is as simple as what would happen if I moved 1 single ounce from the back to the front, or 1 from the back, or just took it off. And what I would always say is write down what you've done so you can get back. Because and I was kind of the same to begin with. Like, I didn't really understand the bow and understand what would happen if you did something. And I was always scared of how do I get back to where I was if I mess it up? And I have to make that phone call to a friend and go, I don't know what I've done. So that would be my advice, is don't be afraid to test. So I've been Susan Corless. What I would say is, if you've got a question for me, message me on social media, give me a shout at a shoot. I don't bite, and actually nor do any of the Mybo team, so come and talk to us.